Hello and welcome to My Karate, My Life. I'm Chrissy Howard. This podcast is a space for stories, lessons and reflections from a lifetime of karate. I've spent over 4 decades training, teaching and learning, not just how to move but how to grow. And through that time I've come to realise that karate is never just about technique, it's about who you become along the way. In this podcast I'll be sharing personal stories from my journey, the challenges, the doubts, the lessons that have stayed with me and the moments that shaped not only my karate but my life. We'll talk about confidence, about fear, about resilience and about what it really means to keep going even when things feel difficult. Some episodes will be quiet reflections, some will be lessons from the dojo and some will be conversations with others walking their own martial path. This isn't about being the best, it's about showing up, learning and continuing, no matter where you are on your journey. Whether you've trained for years or you've never stepped into a dojo, I hope something here speaks to you. So thank you for being here and I look forward to sharing this journey with you. Hello everyone and welcome back to the My Karate, My Life podcast. This is episode 18 and I am Chrissy Howard. Today, I want to share something a little more personal. It's not about a particular kata, it's not about competition, it's not even about how to punch harder, kick higher or move faster. It's about purpose. So people often ask me, what has kept you, Chrissy? What has kept you in karate for so long? The response has of course changed many times over the years because much like life, our motivation changes as we mature. For 43 years, training up and down the dojo, nearly 4 decades wearing a black belt. I've been really fortunate to have some great karate successes, not just in competitions. I have stood on podiums, collected medals, experienced victories that at the time felt like the pinnacle of everything I'd worked towards. I've been invited to teach into other dojos, which is a gift, it's an honour to be able to express not only my karate but myself. But the interesting thing is, when I look back now, those moments aren't what stay with me. They are wonderful memories. But they aren't the reason I still show up into the dojo every week. So, what is? What drives me? On the surface, I think people would say Chrissy teaches karate. And they wouldn't be wrong. I do teach, or I try to teach karate, all of it, Kion, kata and kumite. I teach how to move, how to breathe, how to generate power, how to become technically better. But if that's all I was teaching, I may have stopped years ago. I think there was a time when I tried only to do that, and it failed me, it wasn't me. I'm not just that person. And karate for me has never really been just about karate. Karate is simply a vehicle I use to convey my message. Every punch, every kick, every kata, every grading, every moment of discomfort, they're all pointing towards something much bigger. Over the years, I've come to realise something that has become the foundation of everything I do. Gambarukai is my karate platform here in Northumberland where I teach. So Gambarukai Karate has a number of locations now where I teach. And it exists to use the practice of karate as a vehicle for helping people, to help them discover who they truly are, to help them become more of themselves, and to carry the lessons of the dojo into every aspect of their life. Because karate and life are not really separate journeys. They're often one of the same. And I'm not trying to use that as a clever marketing slogan. It's the conclusion I've arrived at after decades of walking up and down dojo floors, reflecting on my own life, watching thousands of people train, succeed, struggle, fail, laugh, and grow, and then to notice what I am actually best at. My whole professional work in life, I've worked supporting, nurturing, and holding the hands of many humans in their times of need. This has greatly fulfilled me and my wish to care. Karate alone hasn't shaped me, but it has, of course, been a huge contributor. Other than my work, karate is probably the only thing where I have invested so much of my life. Of course, my partner, my dog, my family and friends all receive a large part of me, but I'm talking about hours invested, where I have showed up the most. I've often described the dojo as a laboratory, not a laboratory of chemistry, but a laboratory of character. Science tells us something really quite fascinating. Our brains are constantly changing. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity. I talk about this often, as my avid listeners will know. Every experience we have, every habit we repeat, every challenge we overcome. All of these things physically changes the wiring of our brain. We literally become what we repeatedly practice. Think about karate. Every lesson asks you to pay attention, to stand correctly, to breathe, to remain calm, to persevere even when you're tired. To try again after making mistakes and to receive feedback without becoming defensive, to fail and then to immediately try once more. What are we actually training? Yes, of course, we're training movement, but we're also training the nervous system. We're training the brain that discomfort isn't danger. We're teaching ourselves that pressure doesn't have to become panic, and that challenge isn't something to avoid. It's something to walk towards. Modern psychology calls this building resilience. Budo has been teaching it for centuries. The Japanese word Budo is often translated as the martial way. Notice I didn't say the martial destination. It's a way, a path, a lifelong practice. The old Okinawan and Japanese masters understood something that modern science is only now catching up with. Movement changes the mind. Breathing changes emotion. Posture changes confidence. Attention changes perception. How many times have you walked into the dojo carrying the weight of the day, feeling anxious, frustrated, exhausted, only to leave 90 minutes later feeling lighter? The world outside has not changed, but you have. Your nervous system has settled. Your breathing has slowed. Your attention has shifted. Your perspective has changed. Karate has quietly reorganized your internal world. I absolutely want my students to become exceptional karateka. If they want to compete, I'm behind them completely. I know the excitement, I know the nerves, I know the joy that comes from seeing all of your hard work rewarded. Competition teaches lessons that very few environments can. It exposes fear, ego, expectation, self-belief, composure, courage, and I love that. But here's the question, what happens afterwards? Because nobody remains a champion forever. Age catches us all. Injury catches us all. Life changes. The medals eventually gather dust. So if our entire identity is built upon winning, what happens when we no longer can? That's why I believe competition should never be the destination. It's simply another teacher, another vehicle, another opportunity to discover ourselves. Most people spend their lives trying to become somebody else. Somebody more successful, more confident, more respected, and more important. Karate, though, well, that asks a completely different question. Who are you when all of the masks are removed? Standing in kibudachi while your legs are burning. Nobody can do that for you. Preparing for your first grading. Nobody can do that for you. Walking into a competition arena. Nobody can do that for you. Receiving constructive criticism and handling it well. Nobody can do that for you. The dojo strips away excuses. It strips away pretense. It reveals who you really are. And that's one of the greatest gifts karate can ever offer. Because once you truly know yourself, you begin to grow. Not into somebody different, into somebody more authentic, more fully yourself. People sometimes ask me, Chrissy, what are your proudest achievements? The titles I have won, the trophies I've carried away, time and time again, those were, of course, incredible experiences. But no, those aren't the moments that move me the most. What stays with me? What stays with me is how a terrible child that I was grew into somebody that could do this. Speak to you, bare my soul, when once upon a time I hated the sound of my own voice and was very much afraid of using it. So I'm proud of that. What else makes me proud? Well, watching people grow in my dojo. The child that shows up, just like I did, fearful. The teenager who discovers discipline and direction and they thrive on it. The adult who arrived after a painful divorce and rediscovered themselves. The student who lives with autism and finally finds somewhere they belong. The parent who quietly told me, my child is different at home now, in a good way. Those words mean more to me than any medal ever could. Then there are conversations that happen after class, the quiet ones, the ones that nobody else hears. People sharing worries, dreams, failures, successes. Sometimes they aren't really talking about karate at all. They're talking about life. And that's exactly the point. Karate does not end at the dojo door. Some people think karate happens inside four walls. I don't. I think that's simply where we rehearse it. Real karate begins the moment we leave. You practice karate when you choose patience instead of anger. When you keep your word even when it's inconvenient. When you get back up after failure. I'm so very thankful of karate for that, for teaching me that. When you apologise, when you listen instead of waiting to speak, when you support somebody who is struggling, when you show courage in an ordinary conversation, when you mow the lawn, yes, even mowing the lawn. Those of you that have listened to this podcast for a while or even follow my other platforms, you'll know that I have a habit of finding karate lessons absolutely everywhere. In gardening, in planting seeds, in making a cup of tea. Because karate has changed the way I see the world. It has taught me to pay attention, to notice, to reflect, and to ask, what is this moment trying to teach me? What is this challenge trying to teach me? That is Budo. Not confined to the dojo, but alive in everyday life. More recently, I've realised something. Gambarukai karate isn't simply somewhere where people come to learn karate. If that's all it was, it wouldn't be enough. It exists for something much bigger. It exists so that people can feel that they matter, because they do. They really do. It exists to be somewhere people are genuinely welcomed. Somewhere they can fail safely. Somewhere they can be challenged without being judged. Somewhere they can laugh. Somewhere they can belong. Somewhere they know somebody will notice even if they don't turn up. somewhere they will be listened to. Because every single person who walks through those doors carries a story that we often know nothing about. For me personally, the dojo should never simply build or simply just build stronger or faster punches. It should build stronger people, kinder people, calmer people, more compassionate people, people with courage, people with humility, people who make the communities around them better simply because they are part of them. If we can achieve that, then we're doing something worthwhile. If karate only teaches us to punch harder or faster, I think we've missed the point. If it only teaches us how to kick faster, I think we've missed the point. If it only teaches us kata, I think we've missed the point. If it only teaches us how to win competitions, I think we've missed the point. Karate is not merely a system of fighting. It's a practice of becoming more ourselves. It helps us discover who we are, a way of continually polishing ourselves. The Japanese have a beautiful concept called kaizen, continuous improvement. In Budo, that improvement isn't limited to technique. It extends to our character, our relationships, our contribution to the world around us. Every bow reminds us of humility. Every partner drill reminds us of trust. So if I see someone breaking that trust in a partner drill, I will immediately intervene and challenge, and my challenge will be felt. Every difficult class reminds us that growth lies beyond comfort. Every mistake reminds us that perfection was never the goal. Progress was. So when somebody asks me what I do, yes, I teach karate. But that's only the surface. Beneath that, I hope I'm helping people become a little more of themselves. I hope I'm helping children discover the confidence they didn't know they possessed. I hope I'm helping adults rediscover resilience they'd forgotten was still there. I hope I'm helping people become calmer under pressure. I hope I'm helping or creating a culture. I hope I'm helping to grow a culture where people are kinder towards others and stronger within themselves. I hope I'm helping people carry the lessons of the dojo into their homes, their workplaces, their families, and every challenge life inevitably brings. Because karate and life are not separate journeys. They are one of the same. One day, none of us will be remembered for how many medals we won. We won't be remembered for how high we could kick or how many kata we knew. We'll be remembered for how we made people feel, for the confidence we helped build, for the kindness we showed, for the courage we inspired, for the lives we quietly changed or we were part of helping to change. If karate can help us become better humans, then that's perhaps was the purpose all along. Thank you for spending some time with me today. If you are enjoying these podcasts, please feel free to like and share. It will help, of course, give me some purpose and encouragement to keep this going. Until next time, keep training, keep learning, keep asking questions, and remember, my karate, my life, they are the same.